I don't know how many of you set resolutions at the beginning of the year. It's not like it's the only time of year that we can set goals, but it seems to be this arbitrary marker that every year our culture kind of looks at it as a time to sit down and do some resolution writing or some goal writing. And I have a kind of a multi-step annual planning process that I go to. Tonight is phase 2 of that after this masterclass. But hopefully, as you're looking at things that you want to do at the beginning of the next year and through next year, you're looking at some of your practice, your drum practice, and making some goals. I would encourage all of you to do that. Look at kind of where you're at and where you might like to be at and what steps might be involved to get there. I'm a huge fan of S.M.A.R.T goals, which some of you are probably already familiar with. S.M.A.R.T being an acronym for specific, setting a very specific goal. M is for measurable, something that you actually can measure so you know if you got there or not, rather than just saying, I want to be a better drummer, which we kind of never feel like we reach that. Setting specific goals for certain tempos, for certain exercises, or things along those lines. A is for attainable, making it realistic. I just recorded a podcast about this very topic right before this, and we're talking about, jumping from the couch to climbing Mount Everest. Ron Kay and I were chatting about Everest recently, is not a very attainable leap, but, looking at trying to do St. Helens, which St. Helens and Adams are on my list coming up. Those are something rather attainable. R is for relevant, so making sure that it actually makes sense for you and not set any stupid drumming goal or any other goal just because you see people out there doing it. I know it's very difficult with Instagram. You go on, you look at Instagram videos, and you see people doing the gospel chops, playing a million miles an hour, and sometimes it feels like you need to be doing that. And maybe you do. Maybe that's exactly what you want to do. I know for myself as a gigging player, I don't need any of those chops. It's cool to have some speed and a variety of fills and things, but there's this whole thing that drummers get to do for other drummers, and it's totally cool and respectable. But that's typically what other musicians and audiences are not asking from drummers. So a lot of times we get caught up in those sorts of things and feel like we need to be impressing other drummers. If you're looking to play with other musicians, you're looking to play in front of audiences, I think something really important to keep in mind is other drummers are not your audience. They are not your customers. So stop wasting your time impressing them and do the things you need to do, like keeping really solid time and playing with the click and having good feel. All of those things that other musicians and audiences would love to get from you. And then the T of S.M.A.R.T goals is time-based, so actually setting a deadline. So I think the two important ones for me are measurable and time-based. So saying, I am going to work this particular exercise up to this particular tempo, and I'm going to do it by this particular date. And then that way you can kind of work backwards, kind of reverse engineer what you need to do to get to that point. You know that between right now and that deadline you set, you have to be at maybe 50% of that tempo, and quarter of the way there time-wise, you need to be at a quarter of that tempo change that you're making, and et cetera, et cetera. So kind of using that process of looking at your resolutions going into the new year, I think is very valuable, because then you're not just setting something saying, I'm going to get healthy, or I'm going to play better at drums, and not actually having a plan for it. So a little bit of a diatribe there. Back to the real reason you're here. Greta says, yes, this is the best advice. Excellent. Very important. Just thinking about it a lot because I just recorded that podcast about it. So I figured I would lay it all on you right now.